Hello and welcome to Homer for Saturday, September 6th, 2025. Today we will be reading from lines 34 to 50 in Book 12 of the Iliad, continuing the turn from building of the gods to what the men are doing on the battlefield. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope you enjoy. Thus were Poseidon and Apollo to do in the aftertime. But then war, and the din of war blazed about the well-builded wall, and the beams of the towers rang as they were smitten. And the Argives, conquered by the scourge of Zeus, were penned by their hollow ships and held in check and terror of Hector, the mighty deviser of rout, while he as aforetime fought like unto a whirlwind. And as when among hounds and huntsmen a wild boar or lion wheeleth about, exulting in his strength, and these array them in ranks and fashion like a wall, and stand against him, and hurl from their hands javelins thick and fast. Yet his valiant heart feareth not, nor anywise quaileth, though his valor is his bane. And often he wheeleth him about, and maketh trial of the ranks of men, and wheresoever he chargeth, there the ranks of men give way. Even on this wise Hector went ever through the throng, and besought his comrades, urging them to cross the trench. But not his horses. We'll get to that in a second. Let's do it in the Greek. Hossare melon piste Poseidon kai Apollon, te semenai to the damphimake and opede dee, te Poseid meton kanakis te duara tapurgon, palum nargeioi de dios masti gidamentes. Nausine picla poresine el menois canonto, Hector de diotes cateron mestora pepoio, autor hogosto prostina marnato isos ele, hostotanen tecunes caiandra siteure teisi, caprios leon strefetais teneble me ainon, oidete purge don sveas autus arturnantes, antio histantai caia contisdus itameias, Aichmas che rontu duo potecua dalimon her, tarbe uo de fobeta egan orie deminecta, tarpe ad estra fetais di Cassandron per tisdon, hoppe titusse te tecus isti Cassandron, hos Hectoran humilon ion helis et etaurus, and we leave off right there, which it's always tempting to work back from the end, but it's worth slightly noting that we have this instance of moving on enjambment from one line to the next, as it's not the horses. The horses are not going to do it. But we leave off there today because we have a fair amount to read, and also because there's so much to talk about in this, right? There's so much structure to rehearse, and as we settle into Book 12, as we think about these ideas, I think that it's worth taking today to think about the parallel between the building of the walls, right? The construction of men and the eventual destruction of this, right? Which Poseidon, Apollo, and Zeus are going to do, right? But for now, what's going on? And what I want to offer you as an important visual is how this Homeric simile, right? So we start out here, so as among dogs and among men who are hunters, so among these hunters, there's either a boar or a lion which turns about in its strength, right? So Hector, right, was maneuvering people around, and even though people were tossing spears at him, they weren't able to, get him to move out of the way, right? Rather, actually, he was the one that was making them move out of the way, right? Very interesting word here that they turn into, right, which is these array them in ranks and fashion like a wall, right? So we've just been talking about the wall, but the men, right, in this Homeric simile are becoming like a wall, right? Like they're forming a wall in order to survive, the onslaught of the boar or the lion, right? But this is a very temporary thing, right? And then also to, the ranks of the men giveth way, right? When he's, sort of like wheeling about. I guess if you fill in the comparison for the similes and metaphor, that means that Hector is very similar to the flowing of the water that is going to conquer like the Achaeans' wall they have set up around their ships, which is a divine force, right? Like Hector is the is the strength of Zeus's teardrops, which are coming down to earth and welling up and like destroying the ditch and destroying the wall, which is a pretty powerful thing to be, right? And also likewise, this fairly strong wall, right, which has to be destroyed by men, right, is here literally composed of men who are doing it, right? And I think it also, you know, the, you know, you have this similar thing where, you know, we start out, right? So around the well-built wall, there's this, you know, there's the din of war, right? The din of battle, right? Right, so I like this, you know, the dactylic hexameter, if you like, right? It has the, you know, the accent on the first syllable there. You know, the spears are echoing, right, against its walls, right? It's almost as if, you know, the wall, right, is the receiver of this sound. And the reception of the action upon it, right, is being played here by Homer, because, you know, the wall receives the spears, the lion and the boar receive the spears of the humans turned into the wall, right? And so too does the actual, you know, in these, I mean, this is all in a mythical context, but the sort of lived, you know, Iliadic landscape is, you know, the gods are going to destroy this wall eventually through like natural forces. Basically all these things can like cycle in and out of one another, but I also want the reader to notice that, like, you know, over the course of these 50 lines, we've seen like these three different interpretations of it, which then beautifully segues our way into, you know, what the horses are actually doing, or what the troops are actually doing as they attempt to get into the Achaeans' camp. And with that explanation and that sort of wandering through there, I leave you until tomorrow, which we will hear more about what the kratron mes, or phoboio, right? So the master of fear-causing, Hector, has got up for the Achaeans. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to share more home with you tomorrow. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.